All right, good people out there. How y'all doing? Fellow
What's up, guys?
trainers, students, and drivers in general. This is T.N.T, the Nova's Training video. I'm doing a conclusion to my first video, part one, uh, where we basically are going to give whatever guidance, advice to trainers, pointers from myself in the 6 years of training that I've had, and the experiences I've picked up along the route that may help them incorporate different things into their training programs that make their training more efficient and their students more informed. For the students, I have my two students here, Michael Kiven and Michael Coleman, which you didn't meet in part one of my video.
I was sleeping.
Yes, he was sleeping, so I didn't want to wake him. But yeah, these two guys have completed a 30-day training course with me out over the road, and we are now back at our hotel room, or their hotel room, and they're ready for their test out tomorrow morning. And then the next 4 days after that, they'll be completing their upgrade process. After that, of course, they'll be on the road on their own, and I feel completely confident in their ability to be safe drivers out there and follow the safety etiquettes that I've put into them as their trainer, and they feel confident within themselves to be able to handle the job, handle the truck, and become another safe driver out there in these semis, which is the whole objective of me doing these videos, to try to help encourage trainers to make sure that they're putting their best into their students so that their students can be the best safe drivers that they can when they upgrade and they're out there on their own. For trainers, I think that allowing your students the liberty of something like this, which gives them the ability to verbally express their experiences with you, the things they've learned from you, the values that they have now as a part of their driving etiquettes that they've learned from you. Because again, your students are going to be a replication of yourself. So as a trainer, you definitely want to put the best of yourself into them, so that when they graduate and they're out there on the road, you're going to be the voice in the back of their head. You know what I mean? If they're taking a turn too fast or whatever the case may be, they're going to hear your voice in the back of their head saying, you know that's too fast to take this curve. You know what I mean? Or they're making a turn and they're not paying attention to the tandems back there. It's going to be your voice in their head that can say, oh, where's my tandems at? And they're going to start looking for them. You see what I'm saying? So these are the types of things that you want to implant into your students' minds. And if they valued your training, and if you gave them good training, they're going to have that voice in the back of their head, and they're going to remember your training, and it's going to make them conscious of what they're doing out there. And so that's the whole objective of me doing these videos, to help encourage that in trainers, encourage that in students, and give the students, again, an open forum to be able to express all the things that they've experienced out there on the road. A lot of students probably, unfortunately, have witnessed accidents, trucks losing control, four-wheelers losing control. And what is the number one reason why a driver would lose control?
Speed.
There you go.
Driving for unsafe conditions.
Exactly, and moving too fast in that condition. So I appreciate all you guys that do go on to my site here at T.N.T. and view the information that we reveal. We're gonna continue this. This again is just the conclusion of part one of a multiple of series that we're gonna keep moving on with. And these guys also have their own webpage also called Mike and Mike Expands or Expansion.
Yes.
Expansion, exactly.
Right.
So please, and I encourage you guys to go on their site as well, because they'll be sharing a lot of their experiences out on the road, which again can help anybody. I think any of us that's out on the road in these semis, if you are sharing your experiences, making it available in an open public forum, somebody's going to watch it. Somebody's going to see it. Somebody's going to come across it one way, form, or fashion or another. And there will be something in there that they can take from there that will make them a better driver. So that's the whole objective of my videos. And I hope that, it does do what the intent is, to help make more safer, legal, and conscious drivers out there.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say that here at Covenant, as a trainer here, I've been here for 4+ years or so.
Master trainer.
Right, and I'm proud that these are my first 2 students on my master trainer's level.
A well-earned title.
Takes a lot of time to get up there, man.
Yeah, and I see that there's a lot of students. I'm sorry, not students, but a lot of drivers that are moving into the training program here at Covenant. So they're becoming certified trainers. I mean, I'm talking about like week by week. I'm seeing more and more coming in. So a lot of the information that we're going to be putting in these videos, myself and my students, will also help you guys, because as certified trainers, this is going to be your first experience with students. So you're going to come across a lot of experiences, a lot of things that you may not know the answers to, of questions they may ask you, or just the different personalities that you're going to have on your truck as students, how to handle, being compatible with that personality, which is very, very important, because if you don't have a compatibility among you, it's going to infringe upon that student being willing to learn from you. So you want to basically make sure that you guys have a good relationship. And I tell my students, as I did with these 2 guys in our first meet and greet session, when I first met them and they sat on my truck with me, that I build a foundation of relationship with my students, and that foundation is respect. So as I respect them, they respect me, and we hold that respect as a value in our relationship. Then any issue that comes up, we'll be able to talk it out. We'll be able to work it out, because we both have enough respect for each other to be able to listen to each other's grievance, towards anything that we may have said or done to one another that didn't come out right or didn't come across right or whatever. And we'll be able to work with that, accept that, apologize for that, and then move past that. And that's what you want. That's the kind of relationship you want with your students. That way you know that your students will absorb the information, because the moment that you lose your student by way of, in most cases, a lack of respect, because a lot of trainers don't feel like that's something that is a value to them, meaning that they're in a trainer mode, which means that to a lot of trainers, I'm your trainer, I'm here to instruct you, you're my student, you're here to listen and do what I say do, and cut and dry. And when you treat people like that in general, whether it's a trainer student relationship, whether it's a business associate relationship, whether it's a marital relationship, whether it's a child and a parent relationship, you're gonna offend someone's feelings treating them that way, talking to them that way.
Yeah.
And once that happens, then mentally they're gonna shut down, because they're emotionally distraught at this point. And once you lose them mentally, you've lost them, because now, no matter what your training is, no matter what you're saying to them, in the back of their mind, they're not listening to you no more, because they've already became offended by you. And if you don't address that offense and bring your relationship back to where it should be, then and only then will they be willing to let in your information into their head. Otherwise, it's going in one ear and then out the other. You follow what I'm saying? So please, new trainers, be patient with your students, be respectful to your students, be considerate of your students, and understand that you need your students as much as they need you. So don't think that it's a one-way street. It isn't. It's a two-way street. My experience with these two guys, man, I gotta give them their props, man. From day one, they've been very, very studious. They've paid attention to my instructions. They've made sure they understood my instructions, and if they didn't, Mike will tell you, he's going to question me on it. You see what I'm saying? Until his heart is content that he understands what the hell I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And then Mike here, if it don't make sense, sorry, Charles, that don't make sense. And I have to respect that. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll try to find another way to break it down to these guys. You know what I'm saying? To the point where it does make sense to their brains. Right. And both of these guys are analytical guys. You're gonna have students that are gonna be analytical. They're gonna be, based on different backgrounds that they have. And these two guys are
IT. I'm a programmer, and he's a cybersecurity analyst.
Exactly. So that alone says that they have a skill set outside of training that has their brain working in a certain capacity. Mm-hmm. So now in the industry of truck driving, if you're giving them information that's not corresponding with the way their brains work, then they're going to have issues. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to need explanations. Otherwise, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. You feel what I'm saying? So you're going to have students like that. So at all circumstances like that, give your student the respect of understanding that they have a previous experience of whatever they were doing in life, and that experience is going to formulate the kind of personality they have. So do your best to comply with that and compromise with that. At this point, I want to go ahead and give the floor to these guys and let them, share a little bit with you on the 30 days of experience with me training in the T.N.T. training program that I instituted on my truck. And they can let you know, from the horse's mouth how valuable that training is, because that's another reason for me doing this video. I want my students to be able to share with the subscribers, the viewers on my videos, what actually they have benefited from my training. You know what I'm saying? That way, I know that I'm doing a good job. I know that I'm producing good students and good drivers out there. And they have the liberty and freedom to say whatever they want to say, which is another thing that a lot of students don't feel that they have the liberty of doing, because they're in the wrong type of relationship with their trainers. Right. So they may feel a certain way but won't express it. You know what I'm saying? And then definitely if you give them an open forum like this, they're not going to express it, because you've created a certain hush-hush, I'm the boss, you're the, you know what I'm saying, right, type relationship. And that's not T.N.T's training program. I have an open floor, an open forum, when we discuss things openly. We deal with issues openly, and thankfully, we didn't have no issues. Our characters complied and corresponded and meshed together, and that's such a perfect harmony, man. When you got a relationship with somebody, anybody whose characters are meshing together, they're complementing each other. And that makes every association that you have with a person on that status a successful association. Okay, so right now I'm gonna give the floor to either one of these guys. Mike will probably.
We'll both get in there.
He's got it first.
Okay.
All right, man. Thanks, Charles.
No problem, buddy.
Hey, man. So you get starting from the beginning. We didn't know what to expect. We just jumping in. Hey, you got a trainer. It's like, oh,
right.
you don't know them. You don't know them at all. You don't know who it is, guy, girl, what personality.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, is because sometimes because of our analytical personalities, we rub people the wrong way sometimes, and
right.
It can be taken as offensive, and then they become aggressive, and then it's never good for anyone.
Right.
And Charles has patience.
Yeah, that was
what
very
was
key
patient
aspect.
like an oak tree.
He's like an oak tree, dude.
Yeah.
You just very calm, relaxed, trying to explain it, and then you know, maybe I'll be like, oh, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. And I'd be like, all right, let me try to explain it a different way.
Right, let's pause here.
Yeah, let's calm down. Let's start over, and let's look at it at a different angle.
Right.
And that helped me understand from a different aspect and kind of get more information from a different angle to kind of build that information in my head.
Right.
And Mike had a million on questions.
Yeah, usually because I like to know not just like how it works, but why. Like, well, we got to do this. Why? And or like, okay, we're from Florida and we're used to just flat terrain. So the first experience we had was going down a mountain.
Right.
And cruise control, you can't use it in automatic trucks or whatnot when going down a mountain, when it's raining and all this other stuff. Why? And he was able to explain because, you know, provide me the information that, you know, when you have the cruise control on, it makes it so the trailer brakes are not functioning. And then
because they would be engine brake,
right?
That will cause the trailers.
It would increase the odds of skidding out and
sliding. Yeah,
so that was like my main first driving lesson, and he was able to explain why, which to me I value a lot.
Yeah, it's not like your parents like, oh, because we told you so.
Right.
No, it's a structured information exchange.
Right. And see, if for me, which it was the fact that like he knew why, yes, but there's other things like whether it was something he would explain it in a way that would make sense. I don't have anything in specific, but I know there was minor things here and there. Sometimes like
you'd be able to frame the new information in a manner where you could take it in, intake it,
and understand
it. It was more usable information than like if I were to talk in security terms and you'd be like, what are you talking about?
Right.
He was able to format that information and give it to me in like tangible information.
Right.
I have a quick question for you guys. Digressing from what we're doing
here. You're fine.
I had my Bluetooth on all this time, and I just turned it off. So now, would that affect the
I think it would still pick it up.
It would still pick it up.
Either way, it might be quieter or not.
I see.
But it would still pick it up.
Okay. Sorry for that.
No, you're good. Well, I was gonna say one thing I noticed because as a trainer, which I think it's a really good idea what he has, and on his window he has like
the sticky notes,
10 or 12 sticky notes across, all across the very top of the window that has like certain rules, and every single one, you know, as some of them may seem simple, but it's important. Like safe speed, kind of. You don't really think about it until you're in a situation where you're taking a turn. That's too
wet
tight.
Or slippery. You're turning.
Right.
Something's going on. And you're like, what speed am I at? Let me slow down.
Exactly.
Do I feel comfortable at this speed?
Right.
Yeah, and they're just like little, sentiments or little phrases that I've come up with. In this particular case, they're talking about the one that says, the key to safe driving is safe speed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you keep a safe speed in whatever conditions you're driving in, you're going to be safe in your driving.
Right.
You know what I mean? So these little things I have, as little cue cards across the top of my windshield that they are able to view and look at, on a day-to-day basis. The more they look at them, read them, the more that they're going to memorize them. Right. Some of my students take pictures of them and have them in their phone, so they're carrying them with them when they get off my truck, and they're referring, back to them. Another one that comes to mind is that if you don't want to hit it, then pull your trailer away from it.
Right,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
And then like the mirrors are your best friends. Visit them often.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they're right there, and they're right above you. So you see them all the time. And then they just stick in your head.
I don't stare at them.
Right,
I see them here and there.
You don't stare at them, but they just stick in your head. You're like, oh, I got to look at my mirrors. I got to watch my speed. And they're really good. They're really good.
Don't drive stagnant.
Don't drive stagnant. Yeah.
Why?
You'll miss a lot.
There's much you'll miss.
Much you'll miss.
Exactly. So I'm so grateful and thankful, man, that these guys value that thought pattern that I have to create those little phrases to help create conscious drivers. Right. And then they understand that, and they value that. You see what I'm saying? And they practice that. They utilize these thoughts in their own head as they're driving. They're going to carry that with them from this day forth as safe drivers. Yep. And so that lets me know that the time I took to sit down and come up with them little phrases, pays off, and it creates more safe, conscious drivers for my students that pay attention to it. All of them don't. Some of them, don't see it as something that is of value to them, and I can't force them to see it that way. But those that are, intelligent enough to see and understand what these little phrases are saying and what they're meaning, and see the safety in them, then they're going to take those thoughts and they're going to value them. They're going to make them their thoughts. They're going to make them their driving etiquettes.
Yep. Yeah, you can't control everyone.
Right. Another thing which I can say,
Another
thing I can say I liked, which came up in my head now, is because while we were out with Charles here, we experienced a lot of things.
A lot of stuff going on.
Which not really everyone would experience in their training. But with that aside, if we had not experienced them, there's still been enough things to where it's kind of like what if scenarios. If we were in this scenario, so for example, someone took off the front end of our truck at one point.
Yep.
Then we went through the whole process of how to call breakdown, what we need, all this other stuff. But then, what if it was like, what if this didn't happen, but this did? Then he would give us a scenario on that. So it was.
It's like a role playing,
right? I think
branching off effect.
I think it's a good training method.
This way.
Same thing like with the layover and expense authorization requests. Well, what if we're not doing the labor, but we're doing this? Well, then you would do this, and it was just scenarios that were thrown out there which help.
Yeah.
Part of the learning process that stick.
And that's part of the things that he goes above and beyond on.
Right.
Like, trainers don't need to do that. But if they care about the students and they want them to understand and process all these different variables and pathways, then they'll do that to them. They're like, hey, do these different pathways. What if scenarios?
Right.
That was really good.
So another thing which I could say, because he was able to also provide other explanations, because when we came straight from truck driving school, we were told one thing. And then whenever things would happen, I'd be like, well, this is not how we were taught. Well, and then he would explain as to why logically it would not make sense for certain things. Right. Like, given some of the things from the truck driving school would be, I guess, by the book, but by the book doesn't always work, I guess. Right. Certain scenarios based on certain terrain, certain turns, maybe, certain maneuvers, but
so it's like
it's still
fine tuning.
It's correct. It's legally correct and by the book as well, but explained why and how else you could make it work. So it wasn't just this is the only way.
Right, you only know that once you get out on the road,
right?
And then you see how whatever circumstance or situation you're in, how you have to assess that situation, and you have to make the most logical and rational, intelligent decision on how to keep yourself safe in that situation. And if the book say you can't do this, can't go that way, can't do this, can't do that, and you just live by the book and your driving etiquettes, you're put into situations that you're going to be stuck and you're not going to know what to do.
Right, because you can't do anything, apparently.
So I try to let my students know that don't take the information that they've given you at whatever school as invalid or invaluable, but take your real life experiences out here as something that you have to apply common sense, logic, and intelligence behind whatever decision you make regarding it.
Like refining it, kind of like refining down to
instead of these
sense.
Laws set in stone. This is the real world. This is
and it was always safe stuff too. Like,
it was,
as long as it was in safe practices and whatnot, which was great. Well.
These guys also completed 4 hours or 2 hours apiece of backing. Doing putting their trailer in between a hole or between two other trailers today, and I'm so proud of these guys, man. We talking about from 6 minutes down to 3 minutes tops, and they got it in the hole. You know what I'm saying? And that's with little to no instruction whatsoever.
Right.
So I have like a 5-step backing system that I call 5 steps to backing success, and I walked them through it step by step, and we switched it up as far as our setups. we might set up for a 45 or alley dock, and we'll switch up for a 90-degree angle, which is used when you have limited pull-up space for your alley docks setup. And so we tried, different types of setups for different types of situations you're going to run into out there at these different shippers and receivers, or even truck stops where you got to park your truck and there's limited spacing, limited pull-up room.
Right.
So now they have experience on what to choose based on a overview of what their setup area is, or spacing. And so now they have options of what type of setup they can use to basically utilize the space that's available and get that trailer in that hole. So
right.
I was very proud of them for that today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was good to have the
time,
different.
'cause he didn't have to do that either.
No, he didn't have to show us all the different angles and stuff. Hey guys, try this one. See how you like that. Which
Right.
one do you like the best? Go ahead and try that.
Right.
You know?
But this isn't always going to work, so
Yes.
you may need to do this.
Exactly. Because there's things that are in real environments where you're like, oh, well, I can't do a 45.
And people don't park correctly where they need to.
Yeah, that's
Or
it.
drop trailers randomly.
Yeah, so I encourage you trainers out there, if you have the experience of different types of backing setups, take the time to show your students them, because they will run into situations out there where they're going to have to change up their backing setups. And if they only know one and they don't have the space to do that
Right.
one, then they're going to be stuck. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's going to fall back on who trained you. You
Right.
feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, because that's the only place that they're going to get their backing experience from, prior to them being out on the road on their own as team drivers. So, again, trainers, please put your best in your students. Don't hold nothing back. Don't deprive them of information. Please make yourself a reservoir that they can reach into and pull out whatever information they need, whatever concerns they have, whatever interests they have, whatever, man. So that way they have a feeling with you as their trainer that they can get whatever information, whatever knowledge that they need, for whatever situation they may be in. They can get that out of you. They can question you on it. You know what I'm saying? And they know they're going to get a satisfactory answer from you. They know that they're going to upgrade their experiences by what you express to them, by what you train them in, by what you show them. And that's a very good habit to have, is to show your students, what you're talking about. So you get in the truck. You do the backing first. You let them stand out there and view you, step by step by step, so that they can see what you're doing with your steer tires. They can see when you're coming out of a turn. They can see when you're doing a hard turn. They can see when you're doing a soft turn. They can see when you're pulling up. They can see the position that you put your trailer in when you're trying to square it up in front of your space, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then when they get in the truck, they have that visual. You see what I'm saying? And so they can emulate what they saw you do. You know what I'm saying? Then when they understand what each step is going to do for your trailer position, and they put that trailer in that position from step to step to step, it's like butter. It's going to put that trailer in there, like I said, within 6 to 3 minutes. And the more they do it, the quicker they're able to do it. So they started out at 6 minutes when their first backing in between these two trailers. And by the time we was done, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's nothing but progression.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was very, very proud of that. So please, put your best into your students, man, because they need it, and you want to be proud of them. You don't want, to train a student and they get out there, and the next thing you hear that they was in some type of fatal accident.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle the situation they were in. They were driving too fast for the conditions of the road or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't want that experience. It's very, very. If you're a conscious person,
It's heartbreaking.
it's right. It's going to affect you definitely. So you don't want to ever have to experience that.
Or, like the students that have poor trainers and they never say anything, and they're just they're going, oh my God, this guy's yelling at me or something, or they're concerned, something bad's happening, and then they just leave the situation the way it is, So,
Yeah.
I mean, if contact your carrier, your dispatch, or whoever first, kind of work it out, see if you can communicate that. If not, then get another trainer, man. You deserve to learn how to drive properly and safely. Right. If you're not getting that, then you need to get another trainer that will provide that to you.
One thing that I highly value that we had was the fact that Charles provides the respect and patience that we need, to communicate with us as well, like be able to listen to us and then respect the fact that we don't understand certain things certain ways because it's kind of a different level. But then, the patience to work it out and then go through a problem.
Right.
And if anything, I would say that's one thing every trainer should probably have as a bystander, or from my perspective, is mainly patience and respect for their other students.
Yeah, everyone's different, man. Everyone thinks different. Everyone talks different. Everyone behaves different. Like, you're stuck together. You're not stuck, but you're together for a month. You gotta click in some manner to just kind of communicate at a level where you both feel comfortable and respect each other. So.
Another thing I wanted to say for my fellow trainers, make sure
batteries.
Make sure that you guys are also giving your students the needed information about their job, about working for Covenant, about what to expect after their training, about what kind of money that they have access to making by starting out by getting your hazmats endorsements, and the different types of lanes that are available to them, from dedicated to regional, and so forth and such, that they can, see that they have options here at Covenant, and that they, can expand their experiences by going into these different divisions as Covenant drivers, so that they know the value of the company they're with. And I make sure that I introduce these guys to everybody that I have an opportunity to, from the highest man down to the next driver, so that they have that family oriented feeling that Covenant provides. And a lot of students don't know that that's there unless their trainer informs them that that's there, that they can learn who the VP is of this department or that department. They can learn who the leads are in this department or that department. They can learn who's running safety and so forth and such. And they can walk up to these people and they can shake their hands and they can introduce themselves and they can create a first name basis relationship. And these guys see these individuals here at Covenant walk up to me, shake my hand, call me by first name, and vice versa. And so as they're experiencing that, you want your students to know that Covenant is a home company that you want your students to be comfortable with. You don't want them looking, at other options, and there's plenty of them out there. But are you going to get the internal family experience that a lot of other companies don't offer? You can't just walk up to, the senior vice president of the company and shake his hand and say, hey, how you doing today, sir, blah, blah, blah. And you know his name and he knows your name. Right. See what I'm saying? A lot of companies don't have that open door policy like that. So Covenant is a great company that offers that again, great opportunities in different lanes, different pay scales, etc. You want your students experiencing that, knowing that exists, informed about that, so that they have an opportunity to make Covenant a home company, and they don't feel like they have to move to different directions in their career, which is not going to be complimentary on their career because they're just starting out. So you want to stay with a company a minimum of 2 years, just to create a good a work history. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then, again, within that time period, you're going to get to know everybody. Everybody's going to get to know you.
It's a family.
And you, exactly. And, once you get that feeling, of home, you know, you lose interest in looking other places. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you want your students to be able to know that they have those opportunities as well here.
Yeah, and that's we were well informed and introduced and whatnot.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like even today, we were just walking to senior VP. Just hey, nice to meet you. Hey, and he's like, I remember you guys. You were here.
Yeah, about a month ago.
Yeah, about a month ago.
That, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. You know, and
any other corporate job that we
Oh,
were in,
no.
it's like, who are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw me yesterday. Oh, I
They'd
don't
probably be
remember
like, why are you in my office?
Right.
Oh, security. You know,
Right.
get mugged. Like, what's going on?
I think it's a really great company that we got into.
Yeah, definitely
Great trainer,
personable.
great company. I mean,
it's good.
So, in conclusion of this first video, I again want to thank all your viewers, anyone that subscribes to my page here, my channel. Please continue to watch because we're going to have much more information as we go forth and go forward in my experiences as a trainer, and my students' experiences and being under the T.N.T training program here at Covenant with me. And again, I encourage every trainer, I don't care what level you're on, I challenge you actually. I challenge you to incorporate the things that you're hearing in my videos. I challenge you to create your own programs of training processes with your students and make them the best that you can make in that training experience for them. So that's the main objective of my videos, to encourage and challenge my fellow trainers to do the same thing that I'm doing and better. And I challenge all you students as well and encourage you, as my students here has encouraged you, make sure that you're getting the most that you can get out of your trainer, because once the training is over, it's you against the world.
Yep.
And in that semi.
Lone wolf.
Exactly. So you want to be well informed and well rounded, well experienced, so that you can be another safe driver for our commercial industry out here. So again, I thank everybody for viewing my page, for subscribing, those who will and do, and I look forward for this to grow, and I look forward to inspiring other trainers to do the same thing, because this is nothing, costs us nothing to do this, you know what I'm saying? Right. So we should all take the opportunities to do this and expose our good training etiquettes to not only our students, but everybody in this social media network, okay? Look out for my next video, which will be airing soon. And I thank you guys, man, for participation in this.
Thank you, Charles.
Doing a great job, man. So everybody have a blessed and peaceful evening, and keep up the safe driving.